American Dream Makers, welcome to your special edition of the American Dream Makers podcast show. Today, I have some very, very special guests coming on to have a very lively discussion. So if you are watching here live, please go ahead and share this out and also let us know that you are here because we'd love to get you involved into the discussion. So be sure to let us know that you're here and share this out. Now, I'm going to bring on my guests one at a time. So I want to do my intro real quickly here. I've got Sean Abenanto, and he is absolutely a dynamic pastor, coach, and entrepreneur and speaker, and focus on mindset and leadership. You are going to really love and enjoy him as he jumps on. So I'm going to bring him on since I introduced him. And then I've got Mr. Derek Green, who is the ultimate fella that will absolutely feed anybody, anything at any time, including, food for your spirit, your mind, and physical body and all those things. And he is a purpose-driven leader and transformational speaker who uses his life's journey to inspire others. Let me tell you, he is a phenomenal fella. So I'm going to bring him on. Hello, Derek. And last but not least, I'm going to bring on my husband, Chris Krogerdahl, who is absolutely the handsomest. I'm just kidding, fellas, but kind of not. Yes and no, but anyway, he's a speaker, coach, and real estate sales agent, and my business partner. So I'm bringing on Chris Krogerdahl. And hello, fellas. How are you?
Good.
Doing great.
Absolutely blessed.
Wonderful. So just to give our viewers a little glimpse, where are you guys each at? Sean, where are you at streaming from?
I'm in OKC, Oklahoma City.
Awesome. And Derek?
I'm in ANC, Anchorage, Alaska.
And Chris?
I'm in APN, Arizona, Prescott, Northern Arizona.
Well, welcome to the Middle Dash discussion here. Hi, Mitch. How are you? So good to see you here. Thanks for being on here. And Mitch actually lives in Colorado, I believe, but I think he just made a move, but I still think he's still in Colorado. So thanks for joining us today, Mitch. He's a great guy doing great things. Okay, fellas. So we've got an event coming up called the Middle Dash event, and it is November 8th through the 9th in Oklahoma City. So Sean, I'm going to start with you. Give us a little glimpse of what this is, and the location that we're going to be at.
Yeah, so very excited for this event. It kind of really, the idea for it came out of a conversation, that we were all having. And it was like when we are talking with people, whether it's as a coach or as a pastor or even as a friend, where are people at? What's their mindset in 2024, in October of 2024? And I think what we discovered that day as we were talking is that people seem to either be stuck in the past, like pre-COVID, pre-pandemic time, or they're stuck looking to the future, right? It's like, man, once we get past this election or once we get to 2025, I'm really going to be ready to gear up and go. And so people aren't really living in the moment, focused on the moment, or living in the present. So the more we talked about it, Derek had a great idea. It's like, it reminds me of the middle dash, that dash between our birth date and our death date. And what if we were to create an event that helped people really focus on how to live in the now, how to really focus on just being fully present and fully engaged in life. And so that's kind of where the idea came from. And just super excited to have it here in Oklahoma City, right in the middle of America. So easy to get here from anywhere in the country. And there's a lot that we have to offer. If someone's going to come in for a couple of days and not only go to the event, but hey, you can catch a Thunder game or something. They're going to be awesome this year. But I'm just excited, man. We got a great group of speakers. They're going to be a part of this. And I believe with all my heart that if someone invests in themselves just a little bit and comes and spends some time with us, that they will leave changed.
Awesome. Derek, what are you most excited about?
I'm actually excited for the lives that we can potentially change. As stated here, first of all, I'm honored to be in the presence of people like Sean, like you, Zena, like Chris, and some of the other speakers that are going to be there that you're going to probably introduce some of them later. But the fact that we get to come together, the fact that this started, as Sean said, as a simple idea that a couple of us have gotten together and helped this thing grow to say, you know what, we really want to have an impact on people. We really do see that people are living in a world where they don't have to remain stuck there. We have a knowledge base that we can help them with, whether it's Sean talking about his training through John Maxwell and his certifications, and him being a coach through Tim Story, or Chris bringing Coach Michael Burt's information, or other mentors that he has, or all of the information that I have. It's very exciting for me to be a part of this group and to look at changing people's lives.
Awesome. How about you, Chris?
Well, I'm excited as well. We're going to be talking about things that I've been going through in my life. Being focused on the past, keeps you there and keeps you from the present. Being focused on the future too much can bring on so much worry and sometimes anxiety. Living in the present, that's where it's at. And so we're excited to share our own experience and the things that we have learned, and to help you guys, because we want you to enjoy life and at the fullest.
Yeah, absolutely. I am excited to join you all as well, and the other dynamic speakers, to bring this event, because there is, when you can really truly learn to be present in the moment. And I tell you, that is the thing that I do struggle with, is being solely present, because I'm either thinking about the things that happened in the past or what I need to be doing, for the future. And I sometimes miss. I'm the type of person that I'm all about the destination, going from point A to point B. And it's hard for me to stop and smell the flowers, because I think I'm wasting time. That's the mentality that I fight against all the time. So I'm really excited to share what I've learned and how important it really is to just be in the present moment. And actually, you do become more productive, surprisingly. And so I have a few questions that I thought, maybe we can really tap into and talk about and discuss. And, Sean, we'll start with you. Can you share a pivotal moment in your life where you realized the importance of living in the presence?
Well, there's 100 of them, because there's been so many times that it's so easy to get caught up in going too fast. I say it all the time working with clients. You have to slow down in this sped up world, because otherwise you become like a hamster on a wheel, or you become like someone that's riding a high speed, train where it's going 200 miles an hour. And then, you're just getting, glimpses of the beautiful nature outside of the window. So it's really about just slowing down. And for me, definitely, I think, just recently, even, looking at life and how busy it is. I mean, between my wife's business that I help her with, she's an amazing interior designer and businesswoman, I pastor a church, speaking, coaching people. You can get so caught up in the doing of life that you're not really, being, right? You're a human doing, not a human being. And I think for me, it was really about my kids. It was really like, I'm missing having little moments with them. So maybe it's just sharing ice cream. Like the other day, I was over at my mom's house and I was helping her with some things. And my daughter just showed up unexpectedly with 4 ice cream sundaes, right? One for me, her, my mom, and my sister. And I was just so happy, because I was already like, okay, I can only visit for this long because I got to get back home. I got to get some work done. And then she showed up and life just really, slowed down. And I said, this moment is too important. It's like, if my daughter can find time in her crazy life to buy ice cream sundaes and show up and surprise us, then I need to pump the brakes and really just enjoy this moment. And so that's exactly what we did for about an hour and a half. And it was really magical.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Mitch says, love it. A collective, powerful, and intentional people draws out more greatness inside of individuals than we can pull out of our own selves. Absolutely. Absolutely. Love that, Mitch. Thanks for Thanks for sharing that. Sean, that is isn't it amazing that it's I found that many times it was my own children that taught me those big lessons. You know, here I am thinking I'm the parent, I'm supposed to be teaching them, but I don't know how many times my children really were the ones teaching me and continue to, right, Chris? I mean, they continue to teach us, which is awesome that God blessed us with those little creatures to help us to continue to learn. So, beautiful story. Derek, what about you? What pivotal moment would you say you have had in your life where you realized the importance of living in the present?
Well, I'm known for being fiercely authentic, so here we go. Buckle up, people. Years ago, as my wife was battling cancer and she was towards the end of her life, we had been legally separated, and I came back. And I don't remember how the conversation went about, but there were conversations about the past and mistakes that had been made or different experiences that we'd had during our relationship. And then I made a future statement, which wasn't intended the way that it came out, but it turned out to be one of the dumbest things I've likely ever said. I'm looking at my wife who's terminally ill, and I say something to the effect of, I'm ready for my life to move forward. As I said that and I saw her face change, I realized the gravity of my words and just how insensitive that was, how it came out. In that moment, well, after a tongue lashing that I received, let me just say that, because it was a very insensitive moment. What I came to realize is that focusing on the present was the most important thing. Here she was. Literally, this was right before she became bedridden. She's facing the last days of her life, and we were all aware of that, the last weeks of her life. And if I didn't learn to focus on the present at that moment, then whatever precious moments we could have had remaining would have been for nothing. They would have just disappeared. So instead, I learned, and this was all God's plan, I believe, where the last 3 months of her life, I quite literally ended up spending in a downstairs bedroom, locked in this bedroom with her, because she expressed that she only wanted me at her side as she transitioned to the next phase of her life. With that being said, we began to have conversations. There is a different level of conversation that happens when a person is facing death, when they realize they have nothing left to hold back from or for. And what began happening with those conversations is we both realized, which is kind of crazy to think about. I was 33, she was 39. And both of us said we'd never had a real conversation before in our life. We felt like, I know I can speak for myself. I felt like I had gone 33 years of having superficial conversations. You know, people ask you, how are you doing? But do they actually listen? When you're talking with people, are you paying attention to what's actually happening? And can you hear the pain? Can you hear the love? Can you hear the empathy? Can you hear the gratitude? Can you hear the fear, the anxiety? And do you have the skill set to be able to do something about it, which may just mean that you listen? And I spent 3 months learning to listen. I say we talked, but for the most part, it's like if someone has 3 months left to basically download their brain, best you learn how to become a good listener. And that's what this whole middle dash thing for me represents. You asked, what was it that was this pivotal moment that caused a change? It was there. It was there. And after that, there were these promises, you know, these discussions that we had where I told her, you know, made a deathbed promise. I will live the rest of my life authentically. I will be as honest as I possibly can, meaning no more lies, deceits, omissions, or any of that stuff. And I will find my purpose and I will live in my purpose so that I don't die as a regret-filled person. And there are so many people today, sorry for being long-winded on this, but there are so many people today who are stuck living in, like Sean said, what life was like pre-COVID. You know, people talking about before the pandemic, I had this going and that going and this going and that going, and they're stuck there. And then there's other people that are stuck in depression because they're so focused on what life can be for them. and they don't learn to actually stop and appreciate where they are, because there's someone else, I promise you, someone else is on their deathbed begging for the moments that you're cursing.
Mm.
Yeah, it's
That
good.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, very 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 good and very eye-opening to hear that, because you're right, Derek. When you're facing death, and you walk that journey with your wife through, that your priorities get reset. So these are moments in life that you take a look and say, what is really most important? Um, wow, that's amazing, and thank you so much for sharing that. Um, Chris, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you the same thing. What pivotal moment have you had in your life where you realize the importance of living in the present is?
Well, I've been dealing with a long COVID, basically where my head is stuffed up all the time and whatnot, and for a couple of years. And so when this first started, probably for the first several months, maybe even a year, I routinely was worried. I was focused on it all the time, and I was worried. And how am I going to feel? And what should I do? And thankfully, what I've come to learn through this is a lesson I learned a few years ago that I finally connected. There was a sweet older lady in our church that was at the front door welcoming every Sunday, but we knew that she was in constant pain, and she didn't talk about it. Although if you really asked her how are you doing, she would be honest with you. And she actually during COVID, she got sick and she was quarantined in a hospital room, and I got to go in, and I had to gown all up and put everything on, but I went in this room, and it was so depressing to go into this room where everybody was so gowned up and almost separated from each other, and she was really by herself. And I thought, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to encourage her. I'm going to help her, and that's what I intended to do. But she actually blessed me, um, with what she told me, and her faith was so strong. She was not worried. She was on stable ground. And she did pass away shortly after that. But that really has helped me to realize that we have control over our bodies and our minds. We can talk to ourselves. In fact, we need to talk to ourselves, and we need to tell ourselves how life really is and what the reality is, and that we are to live in the present, not worry about the future, you know, or worry about what happened in the past, that's going to happen again. So that lady, her name was Doris, and she'll forever be in my memory. That came back to me with my own experience.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing that. And I do remember that moment that you came back from the hospital. And again, it is life changing when you're sitting there facing death. And my story is similar as far as the pivotal moment is when I watched my mom take that journey as well. And that was a moment when I said, okay, I don't want to waste the rest of what I have left. And so, what do you have for me, Lord? And I want to start living in the present and really fully enjoying whatever remaining days I have left, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. But the days that He is allowing, I want to make sure that it's being lived to the fullest, and that I'm impacting the most and not wasting any time whatsoever. So my next question is, Derek, I'm going to start out with you on this one. What was the biggest challenge you faced when you have tried to shift your focus from the future to the past or to the present moment? I mean, can you think of a time where there was a huge challenge that you faced when you're trying to make that shift?
Absolutely. It's the same challenge that everybody else faces. I just talked this morning how ignorance is your only problem. It is literally the only problem you have. Whatever you're going to say right now about whatever issue you have going on in life, you're ignorant to how to solve it. And this is your problem. For me, it was ignorance as to how to love myself and value myself, you know? so many people out there are facing that same thing today where they don't know what their worth or what their value is. How many people that are watching this question if they're worthy to receive the abundance that they're praying for or the things that they seek in life? And most oftentimes I've found that that's because it's rooted in something related back to their childhood. It's rooted in something from early years where maybe a parent told them that they weren't worthy, or maybe someone demonstrated to them that by not picking them for the team, the basketball team or the kickball team or whatever it is, but kind of planted a seed in them that they're not worthy or they're not capable at the same level of everyone else. And so many people exist with those childhood limitations or those childhood seeds that have created limiting beliefs that now have sprouted into full grown trees planted in their mind, that every time they get ready to step forward into something, they're held back, feeling that they're not worthy to proceed. For me, that was one of the things, was that final realization of, you know what, I am worthy. And when I stand on stages, I can do this. I am impactful to people. You know what? I have been built to help this woman transition to her next phase of life. I have been built to be a great dad. I have been built to take the experiences of my life and to chop those up into ingredients to pour back into others, which is what this sauce of life thing is about that's behind me. I am worthy. I'm in this amazing group of people right now that I'm looking at with Sean and with Chris and with Zena. And I've been blessed to be in the room with each of you. And at times previously, I questioned, you know what? Am I worthy to be here? Am I an imposter sitting with these people? But yes, I am. Absolutely, yes, I am. Just a couple of days ago, last week, I was sitting 3 seats away from Oprah Winfrey. Not a moment of, oh my God, am I worthy to be here? Instead, I sat grateful and thankful that I've been blessed to get past that limiting belief. And now I have the ability to give back to others and help them see how to do that. And this is why I'm excited, like truly excited to be a part of this.
Wow, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. And you know, I definitely want this to be a discussion too as we're speaking. So guys, feel free to, you know, jump in and you know, interject or anything when you got some thoughts as well. You know, you said something about, you know, worthiness, that we all struggle with this, and that is, I believe, is a core thing that we do. And part of that too, Derek, you know, I mean, just even as you were saying that, I was thinking about, you know, failures. You know, we go through life and we don't always get it right the first time around. In fact, I rarely do, ever. Most of the time I mess up and just recently messed up big. But Sean, when, you know, I just real quick here with the question, you know, as we go through failures in life, it's easy to beat ourselves down. Or at least I beat myself down to where I feel unworthy. Oh my gosh, I should never do this again. Should never, you know, I don't know that I'm meant for this. You know, what was I thinking? Sean, is there a time that, you know, you've had that feeling, and how did you get past that?
Well, great question. And, you know, I think, you know, before I think about a specific situation, I think it's just speaking to what you describe as what everybody does. You know, we all easily can slide into stinking thinking, and we verbally beat ourselves up more than anyone else ever would or ever could. We're so hard on ourselves. So first of all, I just share people, when you make a mistake, first of all, just give yourself some grace, because you're human, and humans, you know, if you want to break it down by definition, we were created to make mistakes and figure out how to live life as much by design versus default. So John Maxwell wrote an amazing book 25 years or so ago called Failing Forward. And that book changed my life, because it really taught me the concept of, when you make a mistake, you don't sit in it, as our buddy Tim talks a lot about, but you fail forward by taking data from the mistake. You really look at it. Let's learn from it. Let's study it. What did I do? How did my thought process get there? What led me to make that choice? What did I miss? What did I not miss? And then you take all that data, you study it, and then you apply it. And that way we learn from the mistakes, and it creates just a little bit more consistency in our lives, a little bit more intentionality, a little bit more awareness. That's failing forward. He wrote another book just a few years ago called Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. And I love that title because it's so true. We never lose. It's just sometimes we win and sometimes we learn. And I think it's really embracing that mindset. A lot of what we want to focus on at the event is helping people shift how they think. The last thing any of us want to do is tell people what to think. We want to help them shift how they think, and then what they think naturally follows. And I know in reading that book and studying that material and applying it to my life over 25 years ago now, that's what I do nowadays. When I make mistakes, I fail forward. I don't get stuck in them. I don't find myself in the ditch or in the weeds in terms of my thoughts or my mind process. And those moments where we're still human and we start to beat ourselves up a little bit, the moments don't last very long. Because in the past, we may make a mistake and carry, regret or shame for multiple days, right? Sometimes weeks. Now we got to learn to have a bad moment or two and then get right back in the game, because there's too much about life that we need to be doing and living to be stuck in the middle of a mistake. So we have to learn and embrace the mindset of failing forward.
Excellent, coach.
Yeah.
I feel like
coachy boy, gratitude. Let's go.
Yeah, I feel like I can get back in the game now. Because but that I know Oklahoma City, football is huge. Sports, not just football, but sports is huge part of the culture there. And you think of the pro ball players. That's where I guess our attention goes to college ball and then pro ball. Well, they didn't get there by always just being perfect shots or perfect, linebackers or whatever it is, quarterbacks and all those things. They didn't just wake up and they were born that way. It took a lot of discipline and failing forward, and then learning. They have to learn. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you have to learn to be present in the game if you're going to win the game. Because if your head isn't in the game, guess what happens? Your head is out of the game.
Yeah, I think, man, just real fast, my two favorite stories about this kind of a thing is my daughter went to a basketball camp when she was about 10 years of age. And I had played ball with the guy who was coaching at the camp. We had played a lot of pickup and rec leagues together over the years. And he was a great coach, great player. I remember him yelling at the kids, "If I don't see you making mistakes, I'm going to make you run laps. Because if you're not making mistakes, you're not learning anything. You're settling for safe. And I want to make you a better player. Better players make mistakes and learn from it." And I always appreciated Matt for doing that. And the other was just a few weeks back, had the privilege of hearing Roger Clemens come on and share with our World Shakers group that we're a part of. And he said something that has just resonated, and it keeps circling back and finding its way into my thoughts. And he said, "My only day off from preparation was game day." He said, "Every other time I'm busy prepping. The only time I took off was the actual game day when I get to play the game. That was fun because I had done so much preparation." So that really challenged me to continue, whether it's my pastor role or my speaker role or my coach role, that if I'm not in the moment in those roles with a microphone in my hand, coaching or speaking or whatever I'm doing, the rest of the time I have to be fully engaged in preparation, right? Same as being a dad. I have to be preparing myself for that next interaction with my child so that when it happens, I'm not having to learn in the moment, right? I can just be in the moment.
Excellent. Yeah, for sure. Chris, so you and I will be talking about communication and how important communication is. So how important is it to be present when you're communicating with someone?
Well, if you want to have a real conversation, if you want to be received by the other person, you have to be present. Yes. You have to be on the present issues that need to be talked about, and presently complimentary to the other person, kind and loving, and thinking of their needs.
Yeah.
Aw.
And I think of how many times I have not been present, guilty. You get at the beginning of dating, right? It's easy to be present because you're just so interested and you're wanting to get to know. But fast forward a few years of marriage and you're like, yeah, I already know what you did today, and you see lots of couples in the restaurants on their phone and what did you say again? You know, and so yeah, absolutely learning to be present while you're communicating is what creates connection. And so a lot of times we lose that connection because we stopped communicating. We think we're communicating, but the reality is we're not communicating on the same level as we did when we in the beginning when we were really interested in each other. And so learning to really capture that is ultra important in living in the present and really enjoying life. So excited to deliver that as well as we are continuing learning. So, please, for those of you that are watching, know that we present this because we've learned, but yet we're also still learning. So it's not like I've arrived, not like Chris and I have arrived and we're really, mastered it. We are still continuously learning this dance. We just do it better now than we did 20 years ago. And so, we just want to share what we learned along the way. And, I can't help but go back to a little bit more of the sports here because, like I said, I know OKC is just a huge sport place. And, I think about, those high pressure games, we all think, of course, Super Bowl is like the last big game and all that. And how many times, did I watch somebody just go down with the pressure and just, at that one moment, if you're going to make that touchdown or if you don't, it determines that game, like how close that is. But if your mind isn't really zoomed in on that present and you're just worried about, achieving that, I've heard other people say that it really messes with your head. So Sean, you've done a lot of coaching, it sounds like, over the years with your kids. Yeah. So what would you say?
Kids, yeah.
Yes. So what would you say as you're coaching these young kids? As they're feeling the pressure because you hear the parents screaming,
Right.
get that ball.
Right. Oh, no, I would just always tell them, do what I say or you're fired. No, I wouldn't say that. No, I think what we talked a lot about is preparation. Allen Iverson became famous years ago for saying, we talking about practice? You talking about practice? Yeah, because he didn't like to practice. But we talk about preparation. And when I would talk to kids that I coached or grown-ups that I coached in business or life or just in some of the keynotes I've done, talk a lot about preparation, embracing the process of growing into the greatness within you. Because when we prepare properly, life slows down to where it's easily managed. Okay, life is not easy, but it can be simple when we realize there's going to be mountaintops and valleys. We just got to keep going. But the more we prepare for it, the curveballs of life, we learn how to hit the curveball, right? Growing up as a kid, I could hit a fastball. The curveball would throw me, and I had to learn how to get ahead of it to hit the curveball. So it's really about preparation. So when life's moments hit you, right, they don't knock you off the rails. They don't knock you off your path. You go, okay, bam, I took a hit, but I'm going to keep on coming. Mike Tyson used to take a hit, but he never kept coming. He just kept coming back until eventually he would knock somebody out. And I think the more we prepare for life daily, just doing the work, just a little bit of something every day, right? A little bit of something every day. Then when life's moments hit us, we're able to handle them in a way that doesn't throw us off.
Oh, that's great. So as I want to add this graphic here as we continue this conversation. But for those of you, as we're talking about the Middle Dash, it is November 8th through the 9th in Oklahoma City. And go to themiddledash.com, or you can scan that QR code that's on the screen there. So if you got your cell phone, you can scan that and take a look at it and sign up. We've got early bird specials going on, and the price is going to go up here pretty soon. So you do want to grab your tickets. This is a great time and opportunity. I mean, it's priced extremely well. This is a day that you definitely do not want to miss because this is a day like Sean just said. It's preparation day. This is the day. This is the day that you do not want to miss. You don't want to miss that practice time because when game time comes, if you didn't do the practice, if you didn't do the preparation, guess what's going to happen? you it's not good stuff, is it? Right? I mean, have you ever gone a week and not got as many practice times in as you thought, and then hit the game? I mean, what were the results, Sean?
Sure. I mean, speaking of games and sports, uh, man, we have a guy coming to speak. I can't wait for people to hear Trey Kennard and to hear his story. He is a world champion motocross racer. And I'm telling you, man, this guy is absolutely amazing. He's what a backstory. He went through a lot of tragedy and a lot of trauma, and now he lives in triumph in his life. And his story is amazing. I love this guy. I can't wait for people to hear about him. But it's going to be just awesome. But yeah, Trey Kennard is one of our guest speakers, and just a phenomenal story he has. And I can't wait for him to share it, because man, every time he shares just a little bit with me, I'm just blown away. And so I'm super happy that he's going to be able to join us. He's normally traveling like all over the world, doing what he does, and he's retired now, but he is a test racer for Honda, and just an amazing human being. And man, his message is going to rock some people.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear him too. He's definitely very well accomplished, and obviously takes a lot of life of discipline and preparation to achieve the things that he's achieved. So yeah, very, very exciting. And then as we are, preparing ourselves for the middle dash, and thinking back of, as we have learned that living in the present moment is just so vital. Can one of you give an example of a time when you focused on the present that helped you make a critical decision in your business? So not only the personal life, but even in your business, is there an example of a time that when you focused, it really accelerated, because I know, just to kind of give you a little, I guess, backstory, I know for me as a fact, and I think about when I was a student in college and I was your typical Asian student, I was determined to get straight A's. And so my nose was always in the books, and school was for learning, not for having fun. So I didn't go out and have fun for the first 3 years of my life. I was like, no, I don't have time to go hang out with you. No, I don't have time to do this. No, I don't. I have to work, or I have to do school. That's it. And the only time I can hang out with you is if we're studying. And that was my mentality for the first 3 years. Well, my fourth year, I had senioritis so bad. I'm like, my gosh, I missed out on so much. This year, I'm going to relax and enjoy it a little bit more. And can you guess what happened when I relaxed and enjoyed it a little bit more? Things came a little easier. I didn't have to study as hard for the tests. I actually got better grades, and I didn't have to spend nearly as much time studying. It was amazing. It just blew my mind to even think that was even possible, because I really thought you had to put in all this work all the time to make the grades. But it turned out that if I just learned to just enjoy life a little bit more, that was different. How about you guys? Was there a time that you can think of that might have helped?
I'll jump on this one. I'll bite. So I can tell you guys that in alignment with what you're saying earlier about failures and success, everyone will fail in life, large and small. You will fail. And it's those people that have the ability to fail forward, to get back up one more time, to stand up one more time, to try again, that will actually succeed. That's the difference between the successful people and those that aren't, is that you just get back up again. And in 2019, I had made a series of mistakes in business, having opened my first restaurant, not knowing what I was doing, and having zero restaurant experience other than having worked in Popeyes and KFC when I was 16 and 17 years old. So here I am, an active duty soldier or active National Guard soldier, and I open up a restaurant. And through a series of mistakes that I take responsibility for, I ended up losing that restaurant. Not just losing the restaurant, though. Within 24 hours, I also lost my house. It was foreclosed on in 2019. And I sat in a pity party, man. I threw myself the grandest pity party ball, because my wife had taken the kids and she went back home to be with her mom for a little bit to decompress. My daughter had went off to Germany as an exchange student, and I retired from the military at the same time. So all of the things that I was familiar with, or the things that brought me confidence in life, just came collapsing all at once. And this stillness eventually came over me where I learned to sit. I learned to sit and think and reflect. And I had someone shift the perspective. And that's kind of what we're talking about here, Zena, is shifting the perspective of where you are in life. That's what this present moment is about, coming back and shifting the perspective, learning to value what you have. And someone said to me, great mentor, very wise person, asked me, Derek, what does it cost for a person to go get an MBA at Stanford? And I answered the question, and they said, so what was the cost of this loss? And I answered the question, and they say, so it sounds like you basically paid for getting an MBA at Stanford. So tell me this, if you approached me having succeeded and failed in business, and a brand new MBA graduate from Stanford approaches me with zero business experience, who am I going to invest in? And then that person actually invested in me reopening the restaurant. And so having done that, I learned from that first experience, it was all about an end goal. There was something that I was trying to reach all the time. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be the greatest at X, Y, Z, all of these things. But it's advice of the greats that have gone before us, people like Tom Brady and Kobe and Michael Jordan, who are kind of telling you to slow down and appreciate the journey. Because what happens to the Super Bowl? Yes, you won the Super Bowl. Cool. You have the trophy, you do the celebration. What happens the day after? Like, now what? If you haven't cherished the journey and you don't learn to live in the present moment, and you hit that goal, that even the grandest goal, you finally hit that goal, what happens after that? That happened to me prior to the restaurant thing in my military career. Many, many moons ago, I was a military policeman, and they had a competition called Military Police Warfighter, where they test your skills and you're competing for the title of best military police team in the United States Army. We were so focused on that goal, and my team won that goal, best military police team in the United States Army. And then it's like, now what? What do you do after that? What happens after that? And this is where many people can fall into a trap of getting stuck. But when you learn to live in the present moment, like when I opened up my second restaurant and I got that thing back going again, I now learned to sit back and just appreciate that customers come in and made sure that we survived through COVID. I appreciate that people come in like Guy Fieri, and he comes in and films Guy's Grocery, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, or brings me down to film Guy's Grocery Games. And now I can sit back under the tutelage of people like Tim Story and appreciate when I have someone sitting in front of me. I can learn to listen more, because I have found that everybody has the most interesting story in the world if you can just shut up long enough to listen. Because it's not about this Derek Green character sitting here. I'm just some dude. It's the experiences that people bring to life. And Zena, back to what you're asking about, that existence in the present moment, keeping life in perspective, appreciating what you have. I get reminders of this daily. Just yesterday, two people, the person that walks our dogs and a friend of mine that's in Tennessee, both of them had excellent news because the cancer that was in their body is no longer detectable. Two people. So what can I complain about? What should I wake up and like, seriously? It's waking up every single day and keeping life in perspective. Thankful. You know what? I got to play in the game. If Sean would have kicked my butt in the Super Bowl, you know what? At least I played in the Super Bowl. I'm thankful for that. I got to stand in the stadium and look at these tens of thousands of people surrounding me. How many people get that? Right? So
That's so good, man. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of things reminds me of Brene Brown's book, Daring Greatly. We get caught up in listening to people that are in the stands, right? And they're not even in the game with us, but we're listening to them tell us what we should do with our life. And so, one, who are we listening to as we're trying to be present in the moment, right? Are we listening to the wrong people, or are we listening to the right people? And also, I think also part of being present in the moment is just staying aware, right? It's just having a high level of awareness, because I think there's too many times in life that people miss moments because they're not fully present. They're scattered, they're like a pinball trying to figure life out, and they're just missing all these moments that would benefit their life in some way, shape, or form, right? Whether it's health or relationships or finances. I remember, gosh, this has been about 14 years ago now. I was in a business with a buddy of mine, and just being fully aware in a moment, had a conversation with someone, picked up on something within that conversation that I knew I could take with and run and get ahead of a wave of something that was coming at a retail level. And man, long story short, we did over $1 million in business off of this one moment where I just happened to catch something that if I wouldn't have been fully present, fully aware, if I'd have just been, looking around and distracted and all the things that we do in life, I'd have missed it. So I think there's so many moments in life that if we're not careful, we'll miss them. And all they do is enrich our lives in so many different ways.
Yeah, something that I just experienced the other night, and I would say this is about being open. Just real quick, my wife and I serve in a veteran service organization, and so we were at a national convention, and we have our chapter level. We do a dinner gala every year, which is really awesome, and we are able to help veterans out quite a bit, and it's a real blessing. But at those, I've given the invocation and done some things, on the chapter level, the local level. But here we are at the national level with chapters from across the country, and a lot of people doing this much longer than I have. And just the other night, the director came up to me before the big dinner gala and said, "Would you give the invocation tonight?" Okay. Now I'm just one of the 42 chapters. I haven't been on the stage hardly at all in this organization. I'm not seeking it, but my past, my wife could have ascribed to this. My past in that moment of not being open, I would have been more closed up, and I being surprised by that. I would have almost instinctively said no, thinking, going back to the unworthiness. No, there's somebody else that's going to do this better than me, but I didn't, and I'm so thankful that I said yes, I will. And like Sean had given us preparation, I didn't even realize I was preparing for that moment in the past when I had prepared for other moments. But because I had been in the present, I'd been willing to step forward and take the calling or take the invitation. It builds, and it helps you to be more open in those moments when you're asked to step up and do something.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Derek. I'm curious. You said you were sitting 3 seats away from Oprah Winfrey. I want to circle back to that just a little bit, because that's quite a moment for sure. And so, were you able to speak to her? Did you seize the day and
What he did tell you, he was tackled by her security. He didn't finish that story. Tried to drink her iced tea and got tackled by security.
What did you say to her? That's what I want to know.
Tell you know what? We get caught up in these moments of kind of idolizing other human beings, not realizing that Oprah Winfrey, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, whoever it is that you want to name, Esther Perel, Tim Story, you pick somebody. These are just human beings that learned to listen to the voice inside of them that said that they had a dream, that they had a vision and a purpose for their life. They sat in silence and meditation. They asked God or the universe or the hand that guides all, the creator, however you define the entity that guides your life. They asked for clarity on what it is that they've been put here to do. And they asked how to move forward with that middle dash. It's an appreciation for life. Thank you for giving me life. I appreciate that. Now, what can I do to give back? That's what that middle dash is. So to me, Oprah is not someone that I can just like fanboy over. Oh my God, it's Oprah. I've never been that person. I don't get starstruck like that. And I don't mean that in some negative way for those people that do get starstruck. What I learned to sit and to look at is how much I appreciate the life that I've lived that has now put me in that position also, because there's a consciousness that comes with it that says, I'm also a person who is listening to that voice, who has asked for clarification and received it. And now I execute, I take informed action towards the greatness that I can bring to life. And you know what? Oprah's 70, and she said that on the stage that day, that she's 70 years old. Here I am at 44. That means I have 26 years to get to where she's at right now. Let me check my Florida math, right? 26 years. So there was some point in her life that Oprah sat in a room from, 3 seats from somebody, like, oh my God, Gail, I sat next to this person. We're all on this journey, right? And when you learn to actually appreciate the journey, I appreciate it. Like looking at that thing of being in a room with Oprah, literally after having just been in the room with Damon John and taking that picture from Shark Tank. And prior to that, sitting in rooms with other people that, like, I don't need to keep name dropping. I don't mean to do it like that, because it's not meaning to be braggadocious. What it is meaning to say or to convey is that you all have the potential to do that. Each one of us has the potential to do that and to become that, to become whoever it is that God intended us to be, if we take the informed action. And importantly, you have the mentors around you that can help elevate you and push you. So when Sean is talking about a coach, right? That coach is, it is not that you may fail. The coach's job is to bring you to the brink of failure constantly so that they can teach you how to get back up. That's how you're going to get the best out of them. If you listen to Tim Grover as he's talking, like he's constantly critiquing. He's critiquing Michael Jordan and he's critiquing Kobe Bryant, which means he's pointing out their failures, is he not? Constantly pointing out their failures so that they can get better, so that they can sit in the rooms, right, and be like, oh my God, I'm sitting next to Shaq. I'm sitting next to this person or that person. And anyway, I'm sorry for the rant on that. And I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but there was so many powerful people in that room. And this was held at the Duke Ellington Center. So this is the place where Dave Chappelle became Dave Chappelle. That as I'm sitting in there, I'm also looking at the kids that are singing on stage, like the literal high schoolers singing on stage and harmonizing, and realizing that, you know what? One of those young ladies hit a note that I was like, oh my God, Whitney Houston is smiling right now. Their greatness is in there too. Somebody else sitting over here that has a nonprofit organization that they're changing the lives of kids in inner city schools, these at-risk youth. You know what? They may have 20, 30 years before they're standing on stage like an Oprah Winfrey. Hell, you guys are going to be standing on stage like an Oprah Winfrey. I believe in things like this. I believe in the potential of people, and I appreciate just I'm grateful for this life that we live and how the 4 of us have been positioned to help other people learn how to live in that gratitude also.
Thank you for sharing that. Really appreciate that very much. You guys, we do need to wrap this up, but any last words of encouragement? I think people just need to go to themiddledash.com and sign up myself.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think one thing I want to expand upon and even shift a little bit that Derek was saying when he was talking about Grover, who was obviously pivotal in Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant's careers. You said he was critiquing their failures. Another way we could even frame that, look at it, as he was critiquing their opportunities, right, to get better. A lot of times, sometimes when we get in our heads, we view things in a way that doesn't inspire us to embrace growth. So I just want to encourage people. There will be people on November 10th that wake up that Sunday morning smiling, and in their mind they go, man, I'm so glad I was in the room. And I've been on the other side of it. I've been in those moments where I sat in those chairs and I took those notes and I heard people speak into my life. And I've embraced that process over the last almost 30 years of my own growth journey. There's been so many times where I was thankful to say, man, I'm just so glad I was in the room. So I just want to encourage people. Will you be in the room? Because there will be people there and there will be lives changed. And there will be people that wake up Sunday different than the person that walked in the door Friday morning. And so I guess my question is, will it be you? Or will you wake up Sunday morning feeling like, man, I'm still here in that same spot with the same limiting beliefs, just going through the motions, not truly living life, but just going through life. So it's a minimal investment. And to be honest, when we invest in ourselves, it's the only investment that we know 100% of the time will always pay off. So I would just encourage people, you know what, for right now, for the price of a dinner date, right? That's all this is. And you're going to get 2 full days of people pouring into you. So don't wait. Don't talk yourself out of it. Pull the trigger, make it happen, and let's go take things to the next level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Get to themiddledash.com and sign up today. And you guys, if you want to get in contact with any of us, please reach out. We are all on social media and pretty easy to find and connect with. So absolutely would love to chat with you. And in the meantime, check back. We're going to be on again in next week, and we're going to have some special, I think we may have a special guest coming on next week. We'll kind of see. You'll have to show up to find out. So let's just put it that way. Show up to find out. But either way, we'll be here. And I think, we had a really great discussion today, and absolutely thank you guys for all that you do. And I look forward to serving with you as well. So, okay, American Dream Makers, the American dream belongs to all of us. We can absolutely achieve it. And not only can you achieve it, but we can go beyond. And being in the room with themiddledash.com is going to help you even go beyond. So sign up today, themiddledash.com, and we'll see you next time.